Honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Still plenty of time left here in hour 2 of the Rod Pedersen Show, Canada's morning sports talk show. I don't know what is going on, but Darren heard some pounding on the roof, and I actually thought some people might have been up there working, and then you guys said that it was thunder. I checked my app. It's been pouring rain, apparently. And maybe it's a good thing that I haven't gotten Big Bird out of the barn yet. New viewers, I have a Jeep, a 1975 Jeep CJ that I just ripped the top off the day that I bought it and have never really driven it with the top on. So one of my daughter's friends was over last night. And I remember I told you that I've been dragging a chair out to the front porch and just sitting there.
Yep.
And I love it. She pulled up in her Jeep and I said, when are you going to take your top off? The Jeep. She knew exactly what I meant. And she goes, well, one of these days, but I'm not like you. You leave your top off all the time because you're a slut.
And knowing
the chair,
knowing your daughter, and knowing that's just how I'm sure that's how her friends would talk to.
That's how we talk to each other.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
Not surprised.
Oh, I laugh so hard.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, well, you leave your top off all the time because you're a slut. It's so funny. Yeah, not wrong, Clark says. It's a good thing that I have not got that Jeep out because it was 70K wind on Sunday. Pouring rain the last couple of days. And I'm all for the rain, believe me, I am. Just not driving in it.
Yeah.
Director Jordan says, almost rode my motorcycle to work today. You see motorcyclists riding their motorcycles, and you wouldn't point at them and laugh, I don't think. But you would see a guy driving a Jeep with no lid on it in the rain, and you would laugh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would.
I've had it happen.
Of course. It's just like, sucks to suck.
Fortunately, I don't care what people think.
But it was supposed to be 25 degrees today, so I think that's why you get in the mindset of like, oh, it's a great day for
I didn't see the rain coming at all.
No, I didn't either.
Chris in Brandon, Manitoba, watching and says, I can't wait to watch the CFL draft tonight. I'm pumped. Haven't watched TSN in weeks. Boy, you're really realizing we're learning a lot in this pandemic. Particularly over the last 6 weeks, but I watch TSN every morning, but my life pattern's always been different than everybody else. I've always been the stream's going this way and everybody else, and I'm going that way. My whole life, has been, and it's fine, but I've been watching TSN every morning through all of this. Jay and Dan's on. Now they're carrying ESPN's Get Up. Not a lot has changed in my life, I'm going to say.
You found Jay and Dan this morning?
Yeah, they were on. Okay. I think Jay Onright went in and kicked some ass.
Yeah.
Because they weren't on the air on Wednesday morning. Clearly. They weren't. That's why I asked them, you guys not on the air? How they hadn't been on the air all week?
We did the show last night. Should be on the air this morning.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Neil Shuchuk writing in says the NFL morning show is good. That's Good Morning Football. I watched that too. Mm-hmm. I just felt there was a Marketing Canada for morning sports talk, and ta-da, here we are.
Yep.
And I believe that there is a market for it. There's no doubt.
That feels like years ago that we were having this conversation about what time slot we were going to drop this show in.
Yeah, you wanted to go at 4 o'clock.
Well,
I said, what are you, nuts?
Well, it was on the table of, exactly where you were before. That made the most sense. But, and we had a great argument for it. And you had thoughts about this. And we thought about early morning. And we thought about the evening. And we've settled on the right spot, clearly.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So to the talk about the CFL bailout and who's got money in the CFL and who doesn't, Leo Ezrin's writing in, and he is mentioned he's the executive director of the CFL Alumni Association. It slid off the screen here. Not that it really matters. Leo made a comment about the Riders needing a bailout a few years ago. Did they not? It's gone off my monitor now, but... And then, and in that vein, Nelson Hakowicz wrote in and he said, oh, well, the CFL may need money, but they're still the second best pro football league in the world. This is why I've got such a problem with where we are in sport. And the CFL just happens to be the league that I was with the longest. But I don't care for the bold proclamations. We're this. You need $150 million to stay alive. So you can call yourself whatever you want. What are you? Do you even know? And I'm basically saying that to Nelson as a staunch supporter of the CFL. Can I rant this? Like, I want to be the next Pope. It's not happening. Like, get real. Why can't people be real?
Yeah, there is
We're the second biggest pro league in the world. And how's that working for you?
There's a real lack of self-awareness in the world. In sports.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah. There's a real lack of it. It's tough. When you have it, that's when you really succeed. And when you realize that you are what you are, the Canadian Football League in Canada is a great league for Canada, but it's not the NFL. So play like it, market like it, be yours, own what the skin you actually live in. And when you just, I mean, people envy you. People envy the CFL. They want to be in the CFL. Fans want to go to CFL games, and some fans, all they want to do is be the NFL. Well, you're not.
Well, and CFL doesn't have to apologize for anything. And it seems like they're running around, both their fans and the league itself, apologizing for what they're not. And it just ticks me off. And furthermore, so Leo writes in, and Leo's a dear friend of mine. We do a lot of work together. But he says the Riders just needed a bailout, didn't they? It was years ago. At one time, not that long ago, the Riders had $100 million in the bank. It came from the decade of decadence, the Jim Hobson era. They've built the new stadium through community ownership. They've needed bailouts in the past. They've got money in the bank now. But Leo played for the Ticats and the Blue Bombers, and he lives in Hamilton. But that's one of the problems, not just with the CFL, but in sport, is are you going to sit back in your respective markets and just lob water balloons at everybody else? Oh, you needed a bailout not that long. You're not going to get anywhere without working together. And 20 years ago, I would go to these Western Hockey League marketing meetings, and now I sit in the SJHL marketing meetings. I've done that. I've sat in the CFL PR meetings. It used to be, it's how can we work together? And now, and I don't know what it's like in those meetings anymore, but I got a strong sense of it. Everybody's just sitting back on their side of the fence and just lobbing bombs at each other within the league. And so now I'd sit back and everybody's got their idea of how to save the CFL. I've had a million people, how to tweak the draft, modify the draft, how to market, what to do this. The CFL doesn't want your help. I've spent zero time on these things. Now, it used to keep me up at night, but it was been pounded into my head. We don't need the help. I've said it a million times. Until they start to work together, they're going to continue to fall apart. And it's the NHL too. They're trying to pound an 82-game schedule down our throats for next year, starting in December, and it's all because of greed. When are they going to realize it's not working?
Yeah, you have to work together, and man. There's not a lot for me to add to that. I mean, you just have to work together, and we can build this up together. Everybody wants to, and I've heard this before, build the tallest building by just leveling everybody else's down instead of actually building the tallest building and encouraging everybody to build, tall buildings together. Yeah, I mean, so you're the last one left standing, and by default, you have the tallest building. What does that mean? Congratulations.
Same thing. Jeff in Calgary, who clearly is on board with the show and me, he said it earlier, but he says the Riders hardly paid for their stadium, Rod. $100 million by the city of Regina, $80 million by the province of Saskatchewan, and $50 million by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We did it together. And how's your stadium working out in Calgary? So again, to sit back and lob crap at each other isn't going to help. Why do I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall?
You've done it a long time.
Oh, I just stopped. And it's, to that mental health thing that we're going to do tonight. My boss, by the way, and I know we got a break, Clark. We'll come back for overtime real fast. But my boss in the sober world, Bob Merrier, he was Rob Ford's sober coach. I think I've told you about him.
Yeah.
He was saying last night, I saw him on an Instagram live thing, and he said 10 years ago, his life in this pandemic would be an unmitigated crap show. But we've repaired ourselves and are able to deal with it. So we're now trying to help people right now. You see, I'm crushing this stuff on Twitter and Instagram from my recovery accounts. People aren't picking it up.
Right.
They just want to run around and panic.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm sitting over here. It's sports and the recovery world are so similar. I'm just sitting back going, I'm just going to worry about me. You go panic. Or fix yourself.
And I'll be here when you're ready.
I'll be here when you're ready.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll talk Rockstar of the Day. We'll update the poll. We'll talk about everything when we come back for overtime. It's the Rod Pedersen Show, Facebook Live, and listen live at rodpedersen.com.
Building a deeper connection with our fans by putting them in the show. It's a new era of sports talk. The Rod Pedersen Show airs from 10 to noon, Monday to Friday on Facebook Live. Join the conversation today and tune in. Online, on your phone, at home, at work. Follow us on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And subscribe on YouTube for all the content you want to watch. Don't wait. Do it right now. You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.